Okay, Veterans Claims Ambush. We're back with another, hopefully enlightening video. We're with the IG, and this one's pretty simple. Unwarranted medical reexaminations for disability benefits. Here's the report number. You can download it. You can read it. What's this about? Well, this is 2018, and this tactic still goes on today. I've had it used on me. Here's how it works. You're dealing with VBA, and they decide, let's send him for another examination, a C&P examination. So we'll send him for, let's see, we'll send him for cancer to a sports medicine guy. Oh, they don't do that. Here's how it works. They say, we're going to send you to another examination because we didn't like the first exam, or whatever it is. They send you to a second one. Why do they need a second one? When they had their first C&P and they have medical records from, among other places, a veterans hospital. Why do they need that? They don't need it. Why do they do it? Well, they're hoping you don't show up, because as soon as you don't show up, they tear up the file. And they say, you didn't show up, case closed. It is a default trap. A default trap. See, what they do is they hire these outside vendors. They have contracts with them. And these are companies that then sub-hire doctors to conduct basically unemployment insurance exams. They're very perfunctory, very surface. Example, I have erosive esophagitis. It's pretty serious. My throat is burning up. There are spin-offs from that. How would you determine how serious that is? Well, forget what I say. You take a camera, little tiny one, and you put it down the throat. The proceeding is known as an EGD. You take a picture. You look. It is considered a form of surgery. There are potential complications. You can rupture the esophagus. Sometimes a sample is taken in order to see how serious something is. That is surgery. So, you have to have somebody who is a gastroenterologist, a specialist, do this, who has training in how to do it. Now, you can probably buy the camera on Amazon. You could probably have your garage mechanic, hey, sit down here and just lean back, open your throat. Well, we'll stick it down. I do this all the time with engines. And, yeah. You get it. So it's a medical procedure that may involve some surgery, and it can be inherently dangerous. It's done under hospital conditions. It's a special kind of operating room where they do it. Highly trained people. I've had 3 of them. Wonderful, wonderful procedures with absolute experts at the VA hospital in DC. I had some before with civilians, equally wonderful. So I've had altogether 5 or 6. Why would VA send me for multiple examinations with an internist, liver, gallbladder, blood pressure? Why would they do that? Since the C&P examiner isn't qualified to perform the procedure and isn't an expert in that field. In fact, with a C&P examination, I've never had them even attempt to look down my throat. Like bend your head way back and I'll use an extended mirror or something. It never happened. Why do they do that? to meet production targets and and to earn their bonus, because then they can say, oh, we sent him out for a C&P. So why would they do a second one? Well, hopefully he won't show up. And if he doesn't show up, we'll just tear it up. I've had either 9 or 10 of them. I think I've lost count. They're meaningless usually. And so 9 or 10 of them for what? Everything that I've ever dealt with has been in my regular medical records at the VA hospital or from my prior civilian doctors. So why do they do it? It's to default you. It's to annoy you. It's to aggravate you. Remember what I told you. When you are dealing with certain types of characters, right? And we'll take a look one more time. When you corner one of these people, physically, they'll react physically. When you corner them intellectually, they will react intellectually. And they will do anything in their power to default you. Why does the IG get involved? Money! Short break. We're back. IG reviewed, so they're not trying to convince you this is an audit. Re-examination by VBA and estimated that. Now watch how this works. Take out the calculator. March, April, May, June, July, August. So we've got basically 6 months. VA spent $10.1 million on unwarranted re-examinations. They don't care. These are default examinations. Right? Now, I will tell you in my opinion, they hate me. They should, but they hate me. I don't take their nonsense. I write about it. I publicize it. So they react. I confront them intellectually. They react intellectually. How do they do that? They send me for another C&P. They don't have to justify it, and you have to show up. So I do. They're kind of amusing. I'm going to tell you a funny story. I had an incident come up related to my service-connected, one of my service-connected disabilities. I went to a hospital, a VA hospital, and I was treated. It was very dangerous, and they saved my life. Okay. So there's a whole medical record. And I'm at the VA. I'm an inpatient for 3 days. And on any of those days, I could have died, stuff like that. But it's a full record. I mean, there's like 100 pages from those 3 days. Okay. So I say, the primary VA disability caused this secondary event that I was hospitalized for. And the record is there. It's 150 pages or so. What do we need to do? Well, they say, we're going to send you for a C&P exam. I know this is going to happen. This is 150 pages at VAMC, DC. But they're going to send me for a C&P exam. I tell them, I'm going to play ball with them now. I say, send it out to a medical school. You can do that. Here's the regulation. You can do it. So they send me to basically a C&P exam offered by a vendor, and you go to their office and so forth. Well, I've been through so many of these. So I walk in, and the first thing and this is the examination for the thing I was hospitalized for. So I walk in, I sit down, and I'm going to ask the questions. Okay, C&P examiner, what hospital was I treated in? This is pretty basic, right? You think, again, you've heard all this nonsense that they read the file beforehand and that they're there to talk to you and objectively evaluate and so forth. Okay, what hospital was I treated at for the event? No idea. No idea. It's all over the medical records. Okay, so I come back from that examination, which is pretty funny to me, and I write it up and I send it in to the VA, and I say to them, I asked the following questions and I got basically no response. What kind of examination was this? Well, now I have begun to intellectually corner VBA, haven't I? So what do? They react intellectually and they say to me, we're going to do another one with another vendor. If I don't go, it's a default. They'll close the file. And they really want to close the file. They'd much prefer if I was dead. That would be easiest of all, the whole bunch of them. So they send me for a second one. And I walk in. And it's a gentleman who did a C&P, I think back in 2015 or 16, or maybe 17, which was destroyed in and I will take you through an actual Board of Veterans Appeals decision. It was pretty easy to wreck it. And I walk in, and there he is. And I recognize him. Now, there's no reason he should recognize me, but I say, oh, well, we've met before. You may not remember me. Well, why should he? He does so many of these. And he's an internist. And this has nothing to do with the center of my body. I've got an orthopedic thing and a cranial. A TBI caused by the orthopedic thing. And so I asked the question, did VBA send you my medical record? It is about 150 pages from the Veterans Hospital in D.C. Because I know what the answer is going to be. And I'm told no. They didn't even send it. So it's a very nice man. And I sit there and we talk for a little while. And I leave. I write it up. I send it into VBA and I say, well, here you go. This is your second one. You didn't send the records. No response. I have to take a break. I'm back. Now, the reason I'm laughing at this is because it's my experience. I don't know how to say this, but sometimes when it's your own experience, you can watch these things and say to yourself, oh, this is absurd. But it's not affecting other people. It is affecting other people. I know that. But these are so weird that they are inherently humorous to me for my stuff. So anyway, VBA spent $10.1 million over how many months? I used the great hand calculator, and we came to the conclusion that it was $10.1 million over 6 months, so it's about $20 million for the year. Oh, but that's not all. OIG estimated VBA would waste an additional $106 million over the next 5 years unless it ensures that word again. That VBA employees only request examinations when necessary. According to VBA policy, employees can request re-examinations for veterans when there is a need to verify the continued existence or current severity of a disability, and when there is no exclusion from re-examination. Exclusion? Here we go again. R. VSR. It requires a rating veteran service representative to review the veteran's claims folder and determine whether re-examination is needed. The OIG estimated that 15.5 to 19.8 thousand unwarranted re-examinations lacked a pre-exam review. Well, VBA management bypassed it. So you see, bypassing the review allowed, they say cause, but it allowed the unwarranted re-examination. So why did they re-examine me? Oh, just to talk me off. And to see, because it was pretty serious, maybe I couldn't do it. But I had a driver, so I was able to do it. Short break. Okay, so you see these procedures that are involved. We're back from my little break. And so what they're doing is they're saying bypassing the pre-exam review, in other words, doctoring the file, caused, no, it didn't cause, it allowed the unwarranted re-examinations. See how it works? You have to fill out a form. They don't. You have to fill out a form. There are pages and pages and pages of small print. They don't. They can do anything they want. They're supposed to go through this routine, but they don't have to. And if they want to play with the vet, they can do it. And they're looking for defaults. You don't show up, they close everything. So I had to arrange for driving. When you corner these people intellectually, they will respond. Okay. Okay. So what did they want to do with this? OIG estimated that the re-examinations resulted in proposed benefit reductions for about 3,700 veterans. So the first exam didn't work. So they sent people back for a second one, probably to a vendor, probably to an internist. And that worked, or they said it worked. Oh, try and get a copy of your exam. I'll talk about that in a separate video. Try and get copies of your exam. It's a scandal. What the VA does is they send a question list to the examiner. The examiner sits there, and while he's talking to you or she's talking to you, they're filling out the questionnaire. It's like you're not even in the room. So why did they do that? Why did they do that? They didn't follow their procedure, and they went shopping for an opinion. This may shock you, and I'll talk about cases where this goes on. Shopping for opinions is illegal at the VA. See, otherwise they could do it all day. Shopping for opinions, medical opinions, is illegal inside the VA. Now, in this situation, what did they do? The first one wasn't enough. So they sent out for a second one. If he doesn't show up, default, close the file. It'll take more time. Hey, he might die in the meantime. Death watch. Unwarranted re-examinations also created unnecessary work for VA employees. Oh, isn't that terrible? By reducing VBA's capacity to process benefits claims. Anyone fired? Look at the numbers. Look at the money. So what the IG found was when you waste time sending people out for these exams because you want to react to them, it slows down the process. Let's take the other part. What's the other part? So they reduced their benefits for 3,700 veterans. So what happened when those veterans went to the Board of Veterans Appeals? What happened? They don't say. How many of those things were sent back by the BVA and it said, remand back to you VBA workers. You made a mistake. See? So you don't know what the resolution is. They are forbidden to go opinion shopping. When I show you cases about that, you will then see how they're just playing around, looking for rewards, production goals, incentives to meet production targets. Look at the money they spent. Okay? And yes, they can do it to you. And you better show up. This is going to come up in the next one. This is pretty serious. Next video.